Rachel Zegler fires back. After Family Guy torches Disney's Snow White reboot, Disney has poured close to $250 million into reinventing Snow White for a new generation. But instead of applause, they got roasted in a bold move, family. Guy turned the entire project into a punchline, mocking the reboot on national television. Now, Rachel Zegler, the face of the controversial remake, isn't staying silent. She's clapping back, and the internet is eating it up.
Oh. You said we were going to a place Walt Disney built.
No, Peter, I said supported.
Family Guy destroys Disney's woke era, and Rachel Zegler's caught in the crossfire. Disney's not just under fire for its Snow White reboot. The entire company, its casting decisions, and its billion-dollar push for woke reimaginings just got scorched on national TV. Family Guy didn't hold back. Without even saying Rachel Zegler's name, they sent a brutal message. This wasn't comedy, it was a calculated takedown, and the wildest part, it landed hard. Audiences are exhausted, not just from the remakes, but from the endless moral lectures wrapped in CGI. And like it or not, Rachel Zegler is becoming the unwilling poster child of that backlash. In one savage scene, Peter Griffin walks aimlessly through Disneyland. Behind him, a roller coaster plummets with a sign that reads, "Disney stock, no subtlety, no mercy." Just Family Guy flat out saying what many are thinking. Disney's empire is in freefall, and its obsession with forced messaging is dragging it down. Then it gets worse. Peter watches TV and sees a character.
Oh, that girl's hot.
That's a guy.
That other guy's handsome.
That's a girl.
That cat is cute.
That's a dog.
What is everything?
Family Guy in South. Park unleashed savage attacks on Disney's identity politics. Zegler, Kennedy, and the whole woke machine under fire. Family Guy didn't just go after Snow White, they went after the entire culture shift dominating Disney and Hollywood. In one viral moment, Peter Griffin sees someone and says, "Wow, that girl is hot." His friend replies, "That's a boy." It happens again and again, until Peter finally snaps, yelling, "What is everything?" It's hilarious, it's unfiltered, and it's a direct punch at the identity confusion woven into modern Hollywood. That one line, "What is everything?" has exploded into a meme because it perfectly captures how millions feel. Everything's being redefined, renamed, repackaged, and audiences are expected to nod along. Family Guy turned that frustration into gold, and the reason they got away with it? Simple. They're Family Guy, a show that's built its legacy on going there. But for Disney, this was more than a roast. It was a warning shot, and just when you think the takedown ends there, enter South Park. If Family Guy fired shots, South Park launched a full-on assault. In their explosive special, Joining the Panderverse, they didn't just mock Disney, they dissected the entire corporate agenda. From recycled casting formulas to the put a chick in it and make her gay strategy, nothing was safe. They even brought in a caricature of Kathleen Kennedy, the real-life Disney exec behind many of the company's controversial reboots. In the episode, Kennedy wields a mystical object called the Panderstone. Her mission, to inject diverse women into every single franchise. Context be damned. The result? A nightmarish multiverse where Cartman is haunted by characters stripped of their original identity, replaced with soulless, self-righteous clones. And then came the line that blew up online. Put a chick in it and make her gay. 7 words that became a viral slogan for everything fans think is wrong with Disney's playbook. Forced, formulaic, hollow. While South Park delivered it with satire, the message hit so close to home, Disney couldn't even pretend to laugh. And at the center of all this chaos, Rachel Zegler. Whether she likes it or not, she's now the face of Disney's cultural experiment, and the backlash that comes with it.
Tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them. The puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And I see Butters. And he's like, "Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematic.
Disney's $500 million gamble with Rachel Zegler is already facing major backlash. The roast didn't stop with Family Guy or South Park. Even George Lucas himself jumped into the chaos. In a now viral clip, the creator of Star Wars can be seen directly criticizing Kathleen Kennedy to her face. It happened during a panel, and while the crowd laughed, it wasn't a lighthearted chuckle. It was one of those laughs that hit a little too close to reality. That's how far this spiral has gone. Think about it. Disney, the same studio behind some of the most iconic stories in cinematic history, is now being flamed by animated comedies, YouTube essayists, conservative commentators, and now even its own original legends. And in the eye of the storm, Rachel Zegler, Snow White, hasn't even recovered from its $200 million blowout, and Disney is already planning its next billion-dollar swing.
Some of us think we're really great people, but in the real world we're not. We're terrible people. You run your life in a very selfish way, and you think you're doing good when you're actually not. And at the same time, it's how do democracies turn back into dictatorships? It's happened through history forever.
A live-action remake of Tangled, and according to reports, Rachel Zegler is attached to the project. Online, the response is a full-blown meltdown. Tangled isn't just another reboot. It's set to become the most expensive remake Disney has ever attempted. Over $500 million all in when you count production and marketing. But with Snow White still smoldering in the ashes of a PR disaster, fans, even loyal Disney fans, are now asking, why risk this again? Why double down on the same formula with the same lightning rod actress? And here's the kicker, the Tangled backlash is already unfolding before filming has even started. But this isn't about Rachel Zegler lacking talent. This is about what she's come to represent. Audiences don't feel like they're being given a character. They feel like they're being sold a corporate message. And when you're pouring $500 million into that message, the audience isn't just expecting a decent movie. They're expecting something bulletproof, something they want to cheer for. Right now, that's not the vibe. And then came the moment that changed everything. Rachel Zegler posted a TikTok. Just a sweet, casual moment. Flowers in hand, walking into a movie theater. Her movie, her Snow White premiere. But the theater? Empty. A few scattered viewers. No buzz, no crowd, no Disney magic. Just Rachel smiling into the camera, a bouquet in hand, in a scene that looked more like a Tuesday matinee than a red carpet event. What was supposed to be a wholesome viral promo, it turned into a meme. Fast, people joked that she brought flowers to a funeral. Some called it the loneliest Disney premiere in history, but the jokes hit a nerve, because behind the laughter was a deeper issue, a disconnect between the movie and the audience, between Rachel and the fans, and a major cause of that disconnect? Her casting. From the moment it was announced, controversy exploded. In the original fairy tale, Snow White is described as having skin as white as snow. So when Disney cast a Latina actress, the internet erupted. Critics weren't mad at diversity, they were mad at forced rewriting. If you're going to remake a classic, they argued, at least respect the foundation. Rachel pushed back on the hate. She doubled down on the importance of representation, but it wasn't just her defense that sparked backlash. It was her offense. Instead of honoring the source, she dismissed it, called the original movie weird, outdated, even suggested the prince was a red flag. That was the moment a lot of fans drew the line. If you're taking on a beloved, iconic role, you don't trash the thing that made it iconic. You honor it.
Rachel Zegler is not having her year where her Snow White movie is going to lose $200 million for Disney, but doing so, she also screwed over Tangled in the process. When Rachel Zegler was cast as Snow White, she joined one of Disney's biggest franchises, which was Disney Princess, where they've done $45 billion in merchandise sales just in the last 25 years. With the goal of trying to keep that brand fresh, they've tried to do live-action reboots of the Princess movies, and they have had success so far, with Cinderella making over $500 million on a budget of $90 million, and then Beauty and the Beast making $1.3 billion. But the last two attempts for Disney just haven't worked, where Halle Bailey's Little Mermaid lost $25 million for Disney, and Rachel Zegler's Snow White is way worse and it could lose up to $200 million. Now, because of those two failures, Disney's pausing their other attempts at making live-action reboots, including the live-action Tangled movie. Which Tangled was actually the most expensive animated movie of all time, costing $260 million, and it only made $592 million, which actually means it lost money factoring marketing and ticket splits. Still, Disney saw potential in Tangled having more success as a live-action movie, but now due to the failure of the Rachel Zegler films, they're no longer going to be pursuing that or other projects. So hey, she failed so bad she did something good getting rid
Be Disney's political firestorm and the final blow to Snow White. The Snow White backlash didn't just stop at creative complaints. It got political. Rachel Zegler was one of several Hollywood names who publicly voiced support for Palestine during the Israel-Gaza conflict. She even signed an open letter demanding a ceasefire. Alone? Maybe not a scandal, but her co-star? Gal Gadot, one of the most vocal pro-Israel figures in Hollywood. Suddenly, what was supposed to be a fairy tale remake became a flashpoint in a global conflict. The tension exploded when Lebanon banned the film entirely, not because of Rachel, but because of Gadot. Lebanese distributors confirmed that Gadot has been on the country's boycott list for years. Any film she stars in, automatically blocked from release. Then came the knockout. An old clip of Rachel Zegler resurfaced, a controversial statement she'd made on social media. The video went viral again. She issued an apology. But the internet doesn't forget. By now, Rachel Zegler was trending more for drama than for acting. It didn't matter how polished the visuals looked. It didn't matter how many times Disney tried to reframe the narrative. The brand damage was done. Then came the box office numbers. Snow White had a production budget between $240 to $270 million. It barely scraped $184 million globally. Even insiders at Disney had to admit the film flopped. But behind the scenes, there was no sugarcoating. Producer Mark Platt's son, Jonah Platt, spoke up and said what many execs were likely thinking. It wasn't just the movie, it was Rachel's public persona, her interviews, her comments, her online attitude. That's what helped sink the ship. And now, it's not a question of if Snow White failed. That's a done deal. The real question, what's Disney going to do next? Because the roasting hasn't stopped. Fans are walking away, insiders are distancing themselves, and their most expensive remake yet, Tangled, hasn't even started filming, even Disney.
I'm embarrassed of this because I chose a filter that made me look pink as hell. But you thought you did something. You thought you did something by pointing out that I, like every other person on planet Earth, use filters on my photos. But you know what you really got? Embarrassed. Let me tell you why this is embarrassing. It's because in this photo, I'm still an olive-toned queen. You don't have to give me any more racial identity confusion than I already have. Let me tell you something. Soy una latina orgullosa y tengo muchos privilegios porque tengo piel clara. But I will never try to bait people by pretending that I look different than I do. Shouldn't even have to explain myself, but go pick on someone else who's actually doing harm by race fishing.
Loyalists are starting to look the other way, and while the internet throws punches, one of the darkest digs may have flown under the radar. Straight from Family Guy. In the infamous Quagmire's Dad episode, the show introduced a transition character named Ida. What could have been progressive turned into controversy when Brian the dog vomits repeatedly after learning he slept with her. That scene still sparks outrage, and yet Family Guy never backed down. So if they're already going this hard on Disney's casting, identity politics, and box office failures, don't expect them to stop now. Which brings us to the one cartoon empire that hasn't spoken yet, but might soon, The Simpsons. For over 30 years, The Simpsons have roasted everything, from presidents to pop stars. And lately, they've started aiming at Disney itself. Remember, Disney owns them now, but that hasn't stopped slide jabs at Marvel fatigue, Star Wars burnout, or endless remakes. And now, all signs point to Snow White and Tangled being next. On the chopping block, here's why that matters. The Simpsons still holds cultural weight. If they drop an episode mocking Rachel Zegler, Tangled, or Disney's corporate rewriting of nostalgia, it's going to land hard. Not because it's edgy, but because it's true. And when even Disney's own properties start mocking them, it's not about haters anymore, it's about legitimacy. This was never just about Rachel Zegler, or one underperforming movie, or even a few angry tweets. This is about trust. Disney used to represent timeless stories. Characters you believed in, escapism you could count on. Now it's reboots wrapped in lectures, and even the diehard fans are starting to walk away. The real question now isn't if the next roast is coming, it's who's going to deliver it. Family Guy lit the match, South Park poured the gasoline, The Simpsons are circling, and if Disney doesn't course correct soon, the next roast won't be a punchline, it'll be the final word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And before we go, Free Palestine!